Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Dual Hearts. On the last episode, we acquired the blue key and now it's time to take it to the Temple of Dreams and pick up our fifth holy instrument. So we've got the bottle, the boomerang, the sword, the spear. What do we get here? Open wide. Like I said in the indigo room, all the blue rooms are loosely sort of associated with water-based puzzles. Obviously this is no exception, being the actual blue room. Let's get inside and see what's up. In this case, the first room being an incredibly simple puzzle is actually kind of justified because this is a mechanic that we haven't seen so far in the game. You can see we have a bucket of water and the goal is obviously to throw it onto the torch. Unfortunately, the second and third rooms come across as a little tedious, but I've chosen to take advantage of fast forward to take care of it a little bit. So here the bucket is empty, obviously, but there are tons and tons of incredibly blocky water drops falling from the ceiling. So all we have to do is stand under one of these, and of course I failed to be able to choose one for some reason. I guess I don't have as much patience as I thought I did. It takes, I believe, 4 drops to fill the bucket. I think we picked up a third one there, despite not really. I think we clipped through the water somehow. There we go, that's 4. Obviously we have to dodge these spike balls because they'll cause us to drop the bucket. It's somewhat problematic in that the range of Stompy's throw is incredibly short and you have to be right up against the actual torch in order to get it to be properly extinguished. Otherwise you'll sort of fall short. This is a big problem in this one because you have to get awfully close while those little spike balls are spinning back and forth. They rotate 3 times and then stop briefly, so we'll see that. There we go. 1, 2, 3, stop. Down the torch, and in we go. There we go. Not too tough, although frankly I did have to try this about 4 times because I did not get the distance of the throw correct. Let's claim our treasure and move on. The blue orb is, the survey says, the remote bomb. Yep, now we've got the bomb, which means we can open up all those blast pyramids that we'd seen in basically almost every level so far. Sheep Dream, Florence's Dream, Parfait's Dream, as much as I hate to go back there. Sorry, I'm just setting the scene for the sheep to come back. It takes him a while for him to get here. I don't really know how he knows that we happen to be in the Dream Hall right this minute, but he always seems to show up exactly on time. It's dependable, what can I say? Maybe there's a sheep network like Magnet in Final Fantasy IX. Anyway, as you can see, we're only 46% complete in the sheep stream. We're going to pick up a bunch of those items today. Especially since we also have the ability to swim. Anyway, let's let the sheep explain the bomb, although I'll probably have some corresponding narration. You can set it to, it's a tool like the draw card, you can set it to one of your left hand or your right hand. You can lay it with, you know, the corresponding button, and then blow it up with the same. At your leisure. The bomb actually stays where you leave it for an extremely long time. I don't think it ever goes away unless you zone or change your equipment. So you can see how it works right there. I got a safe distance away from the bomb this time, but it doesn't actually do any damage to you. It's sort of a reflex that I've trained from playing Zelda games where you kind of have to get away from bombs because they damage you when they blow up in exchange for being incredibly powerful weapons. Anyway, we can swim, so there's also this pool here. I know I promised that I would pick up those rings on top of Stonehenge that I failed to get the first trip to the sheep stream when I swum in this pool, but I just didn't have the patience to get up on top of Stonehenge all over again. I did that off camera about 2 episodes later. Maybe we can see the issue with the combination of the sort of clunky swimming mechanics and the fact that the rings are sprites. It's actually really hard for me to tell if I'm in front of it or behind it or how close I am. And it's not really obvious, but again, since the camera angle, just like when you're gliding, is behind Stompy and Bumble, it's kind of hard to see how far you're moving, and the fact that there actually is a little bit of drift when you stop. You can sort of see it there a little bit better since I'm changing the camera angle. Anyway, there's a piece of Dream Energy and gold Esmon, which is pretty generous for such a simple, I wouldn't even want to say puzzle, some basic exploration. But I guess there's no point in complaining about that now. There are 100 of these, they can't all be impossible to find. Let's get the heck out of here. That's all we have to do here for now. It'll bring us right back out to the Blue Hall of Trial. And again, that teleports us right back out to Sleepy Hill once we leave the hall. Climbing. Climbing. Waiting for Sneaky Eater to start playing. Hello, Yuri. Check out those glasses. They shrink on his head. They're just like Stompy's holy instruments. They apparently change size exactly to spec. And of course, someone washed up on shore, so Will go help while he goes to stare at the wall like he's been doing the entire game, except for the part where he was blind. Yuri, you're a peach. Anyway, we've got to go to the beach, which is a new area. I don't think I've showed it off so far in this LP, although it's not particularly interesting. It just happens to be an area where a couple of characters who don't live in the village can often be found sleeping, since it's sort of the primary resort area. There's also a minigame that takes place there, but we'll get to that next episode. Pass through the woods, say hi to Lillian, who apparently never sleeps, just keeps staring at that tree. We don't care about her if she doesn't sleep, she's no use to us. Let's go see what's going on the beach. The beach, I believe, is another area with this little jetty to the left where Sono stones appear, but again, that's not a side quest we're really particularly interested in. There's a dock on the right, and there's a little patio that you can't see behind the camera. We've got 3 new characters. Your traditional role-playing game girl wearing way too little clothing, some guy washed up on shore, and a fat guy. We saw the fat guy during the intro. He works with Yuri at the research tent. Of course, as usual, Stompy gets conscripted into helping them carry this guy back to the tent. Stompy's got the same chronic hero syndrome that just about every role-playing game protagonist has. He just complains a lot more about it. Oh, there we go. Strangely, Emma is actually staying at the hotel. I guess they decided the one girl needed her own room, which is awfully nice of them, I suppose, although it does sort of open her up to being stalked by us like everybody else in this game. Got him patched up pretty quickly. Standard anime procedure. Bandages heal everything. Yeah, it's awfully cliche. Anyway, he'll go to sleep, but, of course, the game will prevent us from actually taking advantage of this, since we've only just been introduced to him. I love how Toma gets a shocked expression on her face when Emma suggests that, and then just says, good idea. It's a horrible idea. That guy could be a pirate or whatever, you know, and you're gonna leave the girl to watch over him. Although, to be fair, it is the researcher's tent, so presumably the, researchers will be in and out. Anyway, let's head back out to the woods. Pass by Parfait's house, because we'll have to be doing some backtracking there. And Lillian's got a problem. The trees aren't talking to her anymore. She might actually be becoming sane, which would be a step up for most of the people in this village. I know what's wrong with him. He's a tree. He doesn't talk. I guess that's a little mean. This tree was probably her best friend. Can we go in that little... I guess we can't go in the little hollow. I think this is the 3rd time I've tried to do that. Never works. But, can't hurt to try, right? Show the little sunrise. Just as pretty as the nighttime. Back to the village. We've got yet another cutscene to do before we move on. Check out the storehouse. Notice on the side, next to the doghouse, is a ladder. That was the same ladder I was talking about. We don't have any use for that right now, but we will after the next major level. We've got a satchel. I feel sorry, but he doesn't really want to do anything about it yet. Of course, Bumble annoys him into it. Just kind of disappears into hammer space. Of course, Parfait is wide awake right now. He sleeps every time other than when Hannah happens to be here, which is only during certain points of the day. We actually need him asleep because we're going to finish off his dream 100% right now. Let's use the hourglass. You can see the time rapidly approaching sunset in the upper left, and there we go. So now we get to see the little sunset from the perspective of the village. Let's get inside Parfait's dream. As you recall, there are 3 of those blast pyramids, sort of randomly scattered around his dream, not particularly well hidden. Shouldn't take us very long to take care of this. Let's get inside. 93% complete, almost there. Anyway, let's place our bomb. Bombs, of course, make a ridiculous amount of noise. You have to be really careful. Make sure that the dog is completely asleep before you set off the bomb. There's one tummy up piece right there, which bumps us up, gives us our second complete piece of tummy in addition to the 2 that we picked up. Oh, third, I'm sorry, 25. In addition to the 2 that we picked up from beating bosses. The second one's also out here in the field. Blow this up. I think it's nice that they actually bothered to make the blowing up of the bomb actually affect Parfait, even though it has nothing to do with actually solving the puzzle. It's just a little bit of extra care on the part of the developers. Although it does make this little last bit of treasure hunting a little bit more difficult. Since we're not actually playing, you know, any of the difficult minigames, I don't really care. I think this is just Where's the Beef 1. The easiest of them all. The last one, of course, is out here, in front of the front garden, contains a gold Essamon, and that's the last item in Parfait's dream. We've 100% completed our first dream. Let's get out of here and actually continue to backtrack. Back to the hotel, and there's also stuff to do in Florence's dream. There were 3 blast pyramids here too, but this is a little bit more involved. As you can see, we're still only 41% complete here. There's an entire second part of Florence's dream we haven't gotten to yet. The first pyramid, something we can take care of, is over here next to the first sheep in the cannon, which still isn't blowing up. Oh, there we go. Now it fires. Each of these blast pyramids covers a small platforming challenge. The first one here involves this switch, which I will eventually get off when one hits. Come on. There we go. Like that switch. There's a little platform on the other side and gold Essamon in the distance. And our goal here is to ride this platform past the spike ball to the gold Essamon. Simple enough, right? I actually assumed since we needed the bomb to get here, the solution would also involve the bomb. So let's leave a bomb on the platform and see what happens. Blow it up, and turns out that is not correct. That actually double hits the switch, which is in stark contrast to how it actually works. You just hit it with the sword. So anyway, and you don't even have to time the spiked ball, you can just jump around it. It's a total failure of a puzzle. Let's go take care of the second one. The second one is at the halfway mark, past the library. Some turtle faces show up again, so let's kill them in triple time. Jump down, see what we have to do here. This one I believe I also put in quadruple time because the moving platform we have to ride is all the way on the other side where the gold Essamon is, so let's speed up and get it back here. The gist here is that cannons will appear and you have to guard cannonballs that they shoot at you. Of course, they very rarely actually shoot along your line of motion. Most of them will actually just miss you because they'll show up where you were, not sort of perpendicular to where you're going. There's some stuff we can do here. Remember there were things in the river you can swim in, or I should say paddle on. Now we can actually swim in it. We got 2 rings. I was a little bit overly cautious in this part of the level because that tummy up fragment is right at the edge. You can easily fall off. And this way we managed to avoid that. Let's get out of here and get to the last blast pyramid, which is way at the end, near where those David statues appeared the first time. Let's get down and see what platforming awaits us here. There's a switch I can see, which means we actually have to use Rumble this time. And boom. Megaton buns it is. This time we get some of those cracked floating platforms. This again is pretty simple, although obviously you have very little margin for error since all these platforms are full almost immediately. With the second one, and there's only 2 parts to this. You can see we're led right back up on the little moving platform next to that last switch. Let's get across. You can pretty much nearly do a full jump every time and hit this. It's actually pretty easy to do. So while it's a little, you know, scary to have to constantly be on falling platforms, it's pretty easy as those challenges go. Anyway, let's get out of Florence's dream. And remember, we did meet Phoebe when we left the hotel the first time after clearing Florence's dream and getting the key. And she did seem to have something going on that we might want to investigate. So let's go say hi. I mean, anybody sleeping in the hotel is obviously sort of ripe for us to go rummaging around their brain, as we usually do. So no reason to try that now. And we do see that she's in her room because she's on the map. Let's say hi. This is a requisite before actually being able to enter her dream. She wants to build an amusement park. Note that we're talking to Bumble right now, actually having a dialogue, which to Phoebe must look like we're talking to ourselves. But of course she doesn't question it. Nobody ever does. Now, one last thing to do, actually 2 things to do, a few loose ends and things we can look at in Sano Village. While it's nighttime, let's go check out Spencer's house. Spencer is actually home for the first time, and Meg and Hannah are asleep. So let's see what stops us from entering their dreams. Of course, Spencer wakes up, isn't bothered at all by the fact that we're just sort of puttering around in his home in the middle of the night. He just wants us to go away. People are pretty laid back. Moving right along, let's go back to Yars and Tucker's house, so the last thing we have to do here. As I said before, there was one thing I forgot to do in the sheep stream, that you have to go in sort of manually as opposed to in one of the forced tutorials in order to actually activate. There's a series of optional tutorials on top of the ridiculous number of supposedly essential ones the sheep gives you. Here we saw a great... Oh, that's interesting. There's a gold decimal on this guy. You can see it right when the scene transitions to the sheep stream. We can't get to it until we fly. Anyway, there's a host of tutorials you can request, and that associate, I believe, will allow you to redo any of the mandatory ones. Or I should say the suggested ones after you get Holy Instruments. The one we want is the dash attack, which I've never actually really gotten a chance to show off, except occasionally by accident, when I hit the square button while on Bumble. Effectively, when you hit square, Bumble will dash, but if you tilt the control stick at the end of the dash, he will continue to dash in that direction as long as it's less than 90 degrees from the direction he's initially dashing in. And that will not cost you any S-amounts at all. So the puzzle here, or I should say, the challenge here, is to get to the end of this little path in 12 seconds to pick up that gold S-amount before it disappears. As it turns out, if you follow the path pretty much exactly and dash almost the whole time, you'll just barely make it there in time. The last thing, other than Yuri's dream, which we know has a few bombable cracks in it that we can access on this particular set of backtracking. So let's get out of here. 299 rings, kind of nowhere. We'll go finish off another dream tomorrow on Let's Play Dual Hearts. See you then.